Hello and welcome to this video about dizziness. Dizziness is not fate. My name is Dr. Bodo Schiffmann. I am an ENT doctor from Germany and I was specialized in vertigo or dizziness diseases from different origins and also for tinnitus. Maybe you've seen my videos about tinnitus is no fate. This is also based on a book as is in Dizziness is no fate. This is my oldest book and I put in the experience of decades of learning process about dizziness. You will find some interesting things you might have never heard of. So I'm from Germany, so if I am missing some words, so please apologize. I try to do my best. So Dizziness is not fate. It's written by my wife, Mechthild Schiffmann, and myself, and it's a book we wrote again, I think around 2008. And it's the fourth edition. In the beginning, in our specialized clinic in Sinsheim, Germany, every patient who showed up there got one copy of this book, and then we published it again online, also as Vertigo is no fate. From the publisher was Tradition. But all these are left now, and we have a new edition, and in this new edition we have changed a lot, and we worked on it, and there is an extra chapter about people having dizziness after getting an injection against a seasonal flu or other things, and I will talk to you about the morbus Ménière. It's a disease named by Prosper Ménière, and since 1861 people are thinking that some symptoms might come from an overpressure in the inner ear, and I will show you this might be wrong. This was my work until 2020, but life has changed because I was one of the ENT doctors, or ORL doctor as you like, who spoke out against the measures about seasonal flu-like diseases, and I got the problems everybody got when he is not the same opinion like a government. So I think this is something which is common in the whole world. So I hope that you enjoy my channel, and I would really like you to subscribe it, to make it bigger, to give me a like, or to tell me what you're thinking about, what is your experience. And you also find, if you're interested in this book, you find where you can get it all over the world, and you find it very easy. It's on the bottom line on the left side of the screen, aam-book.com, and the ebook at aam-ebooks.com. So ebook or ebooks, doesn't matter. I own all these domains, aam.ebooks.com, aam.books.com. So be welcome to get this book. And let's go on. Millions of people are suffering from dizziness, from vertigo, and this is one of the most common reasons why people show up at their GP. And the problem is that most of the GPs or other medical persons don't know much about dizziness themselves, and there is a lot of misunderstanding. And the problem for people who suffer from dizziness is they doesn't look like they are ill. They doesn't look like they have something which disables them. So when you have a broken leg or a broken arm, you will see this. Or if you're sitting in a wheelchair, everybody will recognize that you're not really pretending to be ill. You are ill because otherwise you wouldn't take these measures. But if somebody is suffering from dizziness, then he might walk like he is under the influence of alcohol or other things, and people don't believe them. They say, well, you look good, you've been to the doctor, he said he didn't find anything, so probably you're just making it up, or it's your imagination, or it's stress, or it's whatever. So the problem is the goal of what I'm doing today is I want to get some understanding for people which are suffering from this disease. And I treated people from all over the world, patients from all over the world came to our small city in Baden-Württemberg in Germany and seeked for help because we wanted to help the people and nobody else helped. My main profession is I'm an ENT specialist and I'm a doctor for emergency medicine, and I treated over 80,000 patients, about 50,000 of them for the reason of vertigo or dizziness, diseases. And my wife is also an ENT doctor, and she's also a trauma therapist, and she is working with EMDR technique. So it's a trauma technique working with the eyes to make the trauma be processed in the brain. We talk about this later. This book is very unique, and it's very unique of its kind because it has very clear explanations. You don't need any medical knowledge for it. It's real patient cases, and you find lots of help inside, like first aid for people who are suffering from dizziness. This is not the only book in our stock. We also have a book about tinnitus. A lot of people are suffering from tinnitus, the noise in the ear. I already made a video about this, so maybe have a look at the video at YouTube, and please recommend my channel. Please share the channel. You can take this link from the video and spread it on Pinterest, on X, on wherever you are, TikTok, and maybe get some more people interested in this topic, because I think a lot of people are suffering from this disease, and maybe my information might help them to get out of this game. Another book is the book Forbidden Medicine, and Forbidden Medicine is about supplementals. So if you're maybe already taking supplementals, maybe you don't know what you are swallowing when you eat this, and this book wants to explain you what is vitamin B, C, D, or astaxanthin or other things. Where do it come from? Where do you use it for? And maybe how can it help you? This is about Forbidden Medicine, and you find all books as well as printed editions or as ebooks. The problem with the word dizziness or vertigo is that it's not defined. It can be everything. It can be like this guy who is walking in a very big height and he's afraid of heights, maybe. Doesn't look like. It can also be a spinning sensation, a swirling sensation, or other things. So it can be like in a boat or in a carousel or in other situations. And this is one of the things that the one who tries to help you or yourself, that you understand where it comes from, and the feeling, the kind of sensation you feel is often already a key. Most people don't know that the most important part of our vertigo or dizziness system are the eyes. For example, seasickness. A lot of people are suffering from seasickness. This is caused by the eyes. So you can't get seasick when you close your eyes. This might be also a very good hint for somebody who is suffering from this. Next time when it starts, just go somewhere, sit down, close your eyes and leave it closed. Whatever happens, don't look around. Because this is a disease which occurs when there is a misinterpretation in between of the information the eye is giving to the brain, the food is giving to the brain, or the stomach is giving to the brain, or your neck. So if your eyes are open, you will feel maybe also puking, but if you leave them closed, it might be not nice, but you will not suffer from seasickness. I can promise this. For most people, I have to say, it's not a psychological sensation. So it's nothing which is made up, nothing which you imagine, nothing which is caused by stress. Every dizziness has, from my own experience, there is a cause, and you need to find this cause. It's like in a detective, and detective has to look for clues. And what I have done in my vertigo clinic, in my dizziness clinic, was I was looking for clues. I examined people very carefully, and I used a lot of new technique to find out what is wrong, where is the problem. And in most of the cases, I could tell the patient what he is suffering from before he even told me one thing, because very often you can see it as clear as in a car when you put it on the wire to the diagnostic system. But most people can't do this. There are very easy causes, like little stones in the ear, which are in the wrong part of the inner ear of the, you see here, these loose crystals, which are getting lost in the semicircular canals, and you can reposition them with easy treatments. And yes, you find also these treatments in our book, so that you can put them on the back to the real position. You don't need a doctor for this. You can do it yourself. And I will describe you how you yourself can recognize if this is the reason, or maybe it's an inflammation of the nerve. But this is a diagnosis which is very common, and in most times it's not even true. So a lot of BPPV patients are getting the diagnosis of these vestibular neuritis, which isn't the cause. One of the most misunderstood sensations I told you in the beginning is the so-called morbus Ménière's disease, named by Prosper Ménière, ENT doctor from Paris. And he claimed, no, he didn't claim it. He just described patients with sensation from the ear, with a loss of hearing, with a noise in the ear, tinnitus, and with a vertigo sensation. But this is from my experience of the last decades, this is a misunderstanding, and this is also why most of the therapies are not working, and also there is still no valid diagnostic procedure which can give you, which will assure you that you have morbus Ménière. So my aim was to publish the results of thousands and thousands of completely examined patients, also with MRI findings, and but there was this flu-like disease in winter 2020, which brought somebody to measures against myself, so that I have to leave the country. I'm still approbated medical doctor, but I decided to use my time to bring light to darkness and to explain people what is going wrong in this world. So I write books about a lot of topics, not also these medical topics, also other topics which you will call maybe a conspiracy theory, but most times it's history, and it's very interesting to read it. So if you're interested, you're welcome. And I'm older than 50 years, and I always thought when you cross the 50-year border, it should be your task to explain to youngers what you have found out, what you have experienced, so that they can proceed and not start to work again like I had to do it when I was young as a doctor. And one of the major causes for the thing you call a morbus Ménière is that blood vessels get in contact to the 8th cranial nerve, which causes this nerve to be irritated. And a lot of people know there is a disease called trigeminous neuropathy, and this trigeminous neuropathy is the same mechanism, and it also starts in the same age and is very well understood, and also the treatment is very well known. And I discovered that in nearly every case where people came to my office and had a therapy-resistant morbus Ménière's disease, that I found in the MRI findings on exactly this site a contact between a nerve and a vessel, in some parts really big vessels, which irritates the nerve. And we also treated some patients with surgical treatments, or we treated them like we would treat people with a trigeminous neuropathy. And this worked very well. So we get a real big success rate for this, and even sometimes could improve the hearing again. So you see some pictures which are not from my office. I just found them when I prepared this presentation for you, this lecture for you. But the therapy can be a microcompression of the vessels, or you can give medications which are slowing down inflammatory processes or other things. There are a lot of things you can do. Same to vestibular migraine. It's also a disease And people get this diagnosis, but they don't get a real therapy. And when the therapy is not working, then the doctor is blaming the patient and say, well, my therapy and my diagnosis is right, but you must imagine this, or you're not following my rules, or you whatever. So, you have your own experiences with medical doctors, and I'm pretty sure, especially if you are suffering from dizziness or vertigo, you have not the best experience, I bet. Well, polyneuropathy is another thing. When people come to my medical office, they often told me that they are able to ride a bicycle, but in the moment when they have to start at a traffic light and they put down one foot, they feel a dizziness. Or they can sit, they can use a swinging chair or whatever without dizziness. But when they stand up and stand on their feet, they feel this. This is a very common, often overseen disease, especially with people who also suffer from a high blood sugar level, diabetes. And this is something you can also very simple examine. You can make a very simple test, and with such a fork which is swinging, and you test if they feel the vibration on the foot. One very not expensive. It's not so expensive anymore. One very important thing is to make an MRI scan, but here you can't rely on the radiologist. So a doctor who is sending you there has to look at these pictures himself. And I learned myself to look always myself on these pictures. There was a woman, she came from Hamburg, I remember it, and she has been at nearly every place, and she got also MRI findings on a CD. And I said, can I see the MRI? And she said, well, here's the letter from the doctor. You can read it. So no, I want to see the MRI, because I was sure from my measurements there must be something pathological on the way of the nerve to the brainstem. And I took it out, the CD, put it to my computer, and I saw a big tumor on the vestibular nerve, the so-called vestibular nerve schwannum, or acousticus neurinum, which is compressing this nerve. It's not a cancer, it's a harmless one, but it was overseen. And then I called the radiologist and showed him the picture and the slide, and he said, well, yes, there is this neurinum. Well, what is wrong with it? I said, well, in your letter you say there's nothing. And he said, oh boy, that's bad. But he gave all the evidence out of his hand. So it was, in my personal opinion, it was not his fault, because when he gives out the CD to the patient and the patient is going to another specialist, then it's his case to look at this. And it was very easy to detect. And as time goes by, I was getting better and better in making diagnosis with MRIs, and did it myself. And sometimes I was also asked by the clinic in the neighborhood for having a look at things. And because of the winter of 2020 and the flu-like disease, which was overrated by many governments because it was not about health, it was about education, and it was about political influence. A lot of people took part in this, let me call it an experiment. And we know from the own data of the producers that this was a very dangerous experiment, and a lot of people who get this shot are suffering now from, example given, dizziness. And there are ways you can help them which are not well discussed in the public, and we need to talk about this. We need scientific rationale and no cure claims. We need just to look about how can we do something against the inflammatory vascular thing, how can we protect the nerve. And there are some supplementals, very good supplementals like nattokinase, astaxanthin, curcumin, or ginkgo, and others which help. And this is not something we made up. This is a supplemental combination I myself developed, and we got a lot of people who are taking this, thousands of them, And you can get it maybe in your country, not everywhere. spikeforte.de is the address where you can go if you're interested in this. But we know the pathways this is following, and we know where it's working and what is the way people are getting a benefit from this. Another thing is stress. So stress is really overrated for the reason as the cause of dizziness, because stress can be good, stress can be bad, and a lot of people who are not suffering from their stress because they like it, because they like to be in action, they like to have new tasks, set themselves new tasks, do new things, well, then this will not harm you. But everything you don't like to do might harm you, but in most of the cases, this is for sure not the reason, even if your GP is telling you that this might be the reason. Also not if you're post, peri, or pre-menopausal symptoms. No, it's not. You can find, when you have a look, in most cases you find a really good reason for having problems with the vertigo, the balance system. But balance is traumatic. It's the loss of control. And the loss of control is one of the high things which can also bring you to depression. And when you have a trauma, then sometimes your brain is not able to process it. So you're not able to live with it because you never got a solution for it. And you see in this picture with these two little kids trapped inside of an adult body which have had a problem which was never solved. Well, there is this EMDR, it's like a magic therapy for them, because you can help the body to start the processing whenever you want by the move of the eyes. It's a very well-known technique. It was used on war veterans from Vietnam, and it's very helpful for any trauma. Also for this traumatic thing when you got the first time your first dizziness attack. Nobody forgets it. It's like 9/11. Everybody knows where he has been when he had his first dizziness attack. And this is really traumatic. Then after this, you have to function. Maybe you go to a doctor, the doctor says, okay, it's not tumor, it's not a stroke, it's not whatever, but you have no solution, and though you're getting stuck. And sometimes you need to open this knot that the processing can start and that you can proceed. And there are a lot of very good techniques, and I will explain them to you in this book, the English edition. I don't have it here, it's the German edition, but they are exactly the same thing. So a lot of technical solutions and also not technical solutions which might help you, even if you are a medical doctor watching this, that you can get it for yourself to help your patients getting rid of vertigo. There are simple tests where you don't need any measures, like standing and walking tests. It's called Romberg and Unterberger test. They can give you very big clues. It's a very, very important examination, and we always made it because then we could see, is he able to stand on one foot, on both foot? Is he turning when he has his eyes closed? And different things, and you can come early to a conclusion what is the reason. And this is the same thing done with an electronic device. It's called post-urography. It has nothing to do with urology. It's just the posture which you're measuring here, and this posture is measured by small lamps on the shoulder and on the head, which are recognized by a computer, and you see if the people are swaying or going to the front or to the back, which gives you a very good indication if it's something coming from the cerebellum or from the on the cervical spine or from the inner ear. So these are very helpful things. You also find first aid tips inside of the book if you're interested in it. And here are some very simple ones. Don't walk around when you feel dizzy. Sit or lie down is the first thing, because some things might be caused by your blood pressure. use your eyes and look at a point which you can fix, like you make like this, or you close the eyes, try what is better for you, and stay calm. There is most dizziness is harmless, and often it goes away in 30 seconds, like all these BPPV vertigos. So don't be alarmed, even if it's feeling like you're falling. So just take care that you can't fall, because when you sit or lie, you can't fall. This is very important. And just wait. Sometimes after 30 seconds, the whole thing is over. And when this is the case, then you can be sure it's some little crystals in the semicannular system of your vertigo system in the inner ear. There are different kinds of vestibular training. I don't know if this is used for vestibular training, but if I would have this, I would have used it for it. I also used, for example, Nintendo, this game console, and there was a Wii balance board, and I recommended this balance board to a lot of people, and this is a perfect vertigo training. You can also use this swiveling chair with training, which I explain you also in the book, where you can make very good and effective training for each of these semicircular channels. Take care for yourself. Take care that you drink enough. This is a very, very important reason for the body to get dizziness if you're not drinking enough, sleep enough, rest enough. Manage your stress. If it's not an eustress, it's in distress. So when you don't like what you are doing, then cut down what you are doing and take care that you like it. And also take care that you are eating healthy, that you're eating different things and not getting too overweight. Look that you're moving yourself. I think this understands itself. And a very curious thing is some people have dizziness when they sleep on one ear, and they don't have dizziness when they sleep on the other. So the solution is very simple. In the beginning, it's don't sleep on the ear which is affected. Sounds simple, but people doesn't do it. So maybe you have to choose. You have to change the side of the bed with your man or your wife you're living, and then you feel better. Or when you have this fresh, just move to the ear, which is good, and maybe wear a backpack full of blankets or whatever, so that you stay in the night on the not affected side. I experienced it a lot of times. When people have done this 1 or 2 nights, it was gone. Which is also an explanation if they have a vessel going into the inner canal of the 8th cranial nerve, then this might be also a cause. If you're suffering very hard, EMDR is very helpful. Also other psychological support, but again, I repeat myself, most people who are suffering from dizziness or vertigo doesn't have a primary psychological problem, even if the GP is telling them so, or the neurological colleague or whoever. Trust in yourself. You're not imagining it. When you feel this and you can describe it, then it's there. And maybe nobody has found it. If you have an arrogant doctor who said, well, this is just your menopause, change him. Go to another one. So the core message is, don't give yourself up. Dizziness is not a fate. It's not a sense. It's something you can do, you can work on. You can't heal everybody, but you can help everybody to understand what he's suffering from. And when you understand, then the fear is going away. When you understand why you get dizziness when the curtains are moving, for example, then this is nobody who is in fear of moving curtains. And it's somebody who is using his eyes to suppress the vertigo. And then most times it comes from the ear. And then you need a training for the ear to repair it. Same with people who have fear on an open field or in a forest, or when there are a lot of people in a room. I hope this book can help you to understand what yourself are suffering from. And please help others to find this video, help others to find this book, because it might be the key for success. I put in all my experience of decades of work with people who are suffering from dizziness, and there are some new aspects. Probably no medical doctor know, because I haven't published them till now. So this is a new thing, and you find these books in a printed edition at aam-books.com or ebooks at aam-ebooks.com. Please, you find the link also in the description, and let me know what do you think about, what are you suffering from, what is your experience, what have you realized, and please give us a subscription, ring the bell, and give us a like. This is very important for the YouTube algorithm. And use other social channels so that other people might be able to find this channel and to find more information. You will find frequent, new, more information about different topics, about different books I have written, and about also more insight, more details about different diseases which can lead to vertigo or which can lead to tinnitus. So I hope this channel, I hope you like the channel. And thank you very much for tuning in and being a part of this lecture. And see you next time at Against All Mainstream, my company from AAM Media.